All right, welcome back to the Live Zone Prime Time. Taking a look at some Fox 5 Skycam footage of the Potomac River. DC water crews still working to contain one of the largest sewage spills in U.S. history. At least 200 million gallons of sewage have spilled into the Potomac River since January 19th, when a massive pipe collapsed. Workers have completed construction of 2 new access pits to support the installation of the enhanced bypass pumping system. However, Virginia health officials have told people downstream of that spill to stay out of the Potomac to avoid getting sick. Meanwhile, President Trump is slamming Maryland's Governor Wes Moore and other Democratic leaders for the massive sewage spill. In a Truth Social post today, the president said they are not competent enough to handle the cleanup. The president said he is directing federal agencies to provide necessary management, direction, and coordination to clean up one of the largest spills. Like we said, Governor Moore fired back, pointing out where the sewage leak originated is maintained by federal government, and blamed the president for failing to act and putting people at risk. This is under the purview of DC Water, we should mention. But for more on the spill, the response, the political back and forth, and more, Potomac Riverkeeper Network President Betsy Nicholas joins us now live. Betsy, thanks so much for spending some time with us here on the Live Zone Primetime.
Happy to be here with you.
So first and foremost, before we dive into this particular situation, can you tell us a little bit about what the Potomac Riverkeeper Network is?
Yes, we are a nonprofit watchdog group, and we're trying to be the eyes, the ears of the river, and protect it for both the purposes of the river, the critters that live in it, but most importantly for the communities that live near it and depend on it.
And with this awful spill that we saw in the last month or so, what type of environmental impacts are already happening on the ground or in the water per se, as well as what are some of the long-term effects that your organization is seeing that people need to be paying attention to?
Well, immediately, obviously, are the warnings for contact with the water. Really, really high bacteria levels. Sometimes when we have been testing, and we've been testing at least once a week since the spill happened, but about 3 or 4 times in that first week, we're seeing levels of bacteria that are tens of thousands of times above the safety level for recreational contact. So stay away for right now and give it a little bit of time to move through the system. But longer term, all of that bacteria in the river, it's not that the bacteria affects fish and crabs and stuff the same way it would for us. It's more of what it does to the water quality, because all of that nitrogen and phosphorus in there sucks up the oxygen. So you can have harmful algae blooms, but more importantly, that when you suck up the oxygen, then there's nothing for all the critters to breathe, and you get dead zones in the river.
So I know
we're facing that now, and it may well get worse before it gets better.
So I know that this is, we mentioned that this is a historic sewage spill. Are you surprised at how long it has taken to kind of get? I mean, the latest news that we have is they're expecting another 4 to 6 weeks in terms of these repairs before this can really, hopefully, be, start to even mitigate the disaster that has occurred.
I have some bad news for you, that it's actually going to be longer than that. The 4 to 6 weeks is really to stabilize the bypass and make sure. Right now they're doing it with wood, and some stuff can get through wood, and they're putting in metal through the bypass and the canal. But DC Water has now said it's going to be 9 to 10 months before they can fix that giant interceptor pipe. And during that time, we're still going to have the possibility of occasional small sewage spills that go right into the river. So in addition to all the problems we have with the ice and the ice melting and releasing bacteria, we also have that we're going to have those occasional spills going forward. There was one on Super Bowl Sunday because when more people are at home, they flush the toilets. And so that overloaded the system and caused a small overflow directly into the river. And that's the stuff we're going to be facing for a long time. So I hope we can get a system for daily monitoring. And that way, as we go into the summer months, we're going to know when it's safe to get in the river and when it's not, because hot summer DC, there's nothing quite like getting in the water.
Exactly. Now, one of the things that I've been thinking about throughout this entire case is how a lot of times when people think about maintenance on things, treatment, it's not usually viewed as an important thing from citizens or lawmakers potentially. Do you think that this spill could have been prevented, or was it just an accident that just sadly happened because of nature or the weather patterns?
I think it's some of both. That this is a 60-year-old pipe, and DC Water just got a big allocation of funding put together for repair and maintenance, but they didn't get to it yet. And so we had this horrible spill, and now we're going to have to clean it up. But it's really the story of cities around the country that we kind of put it off, right? Who really wants to sit around and talk about who and pipelines?
Yeah.
This is not exactly the dinner conversation that most people want to have, and it tends to get kicked down the road. And that is what we had here. So I think if we had more investment early on, we would have had a better opportunity to stop this before it happened. And that's what we have to look forward to in the future, is making sure that these things don't happen, as well as ones like this, we effectively clean up and restore the beautiful Potomac River to the way it was before.
So obviously anyone who lives or works here in the nation's capital knows that there is always some sort of jurisdictional issue going on, regardless of what the subject is. Obviously this is DC water, federal land, Cabin John, Maryland, and now the president is getting involved and pointing some fingers. Do you welcome the federal intervention, and who needs to step up to really oversee what needs to be done in this case?
So I'm really glad this got to the White House level of recognition. This is the nation's river, and we should be treating it with respect that it deserves. I think there were a lot of factors that prevented it from getting the notice maybe it should have at first, including the great big ice storm we had here that is finally now starting to melt in our region. And as far as the feds, it's really EPA who looks over this. DC Water is who operates the pipeline, and so they're ultimately responsible for day-to-day operations. They're the ones out on the site right now trying to fix it. And but they're governed by EPA here, not any particular state. So federal involvement would be great, but I would think we would be really looking to EPA to be the feds who are involved here and are helping to oversee the cleanup, the repair, the ecosystem restoration going forward. But elevating the profile of this should be helpful there.
For people that live on this DC water pipeline or adjacent areas, are there certain things that they should take notice of, whether it be with their water consumption or drinking of the water, or like you said, Super Bowl Sunday, flushing the toilet a lot? Are there certain things that people can do now to mitigate the pressure on these pipes to make sure that we don't have any more spillage?
Not a huge amount. Fortunately, our big drinking water uptakes for this area are just above Great Falls. And so not only are they upstream, but they're really uphill, up a waterfall.
Got it, yeah.
From where the spill occurred. In fact, the place where it occurred, Lock 10, I am one of those people who gets out there and does whitewater rafting in Mather Gorge. Yeah. I do not go over the falls, but I get in right beneath them and go through, and that's always where we take out there at Lock 10, so it's just a beautiful place. I don't think I'm going to do that this year, and I think that's, not just the water quality aspect, but unfortunately when the sewage spilled out, it's all over the ground. And so it might be in the soil for a while, the canal. Don't walk your dog over there. Don't get in the water right around there. Check the monitoring information. We can promise that we can do at least weekly monitoring, but hopefully the public health agencies will be involved. In terms of preventing it, the one thing you always got to say if you work in water and water infrastructure is disposable wipes are not disposable. Do not put that down the toilet. That was part of the thing that caused the issue on Super Bowl Sunday. But remember, everything that you do is right there going into the river, the same river that's providing your drinking water, your recreation, everything else. And so just keep that in mind. And I think it kind of changes all of your behaviors a little bit to think about and appreciate the river.
All right. So if people want to learn more about not only your organization or what they can do to kind of protect the waterways that they live on, rely on, where can they go for more information?
Our website, potomacriverkeeper.org, or you can also, the most up-to-date on this issue, and we're doing several times a day updates, is on the Potomac River Keeper Facebook page. So both Potomac River Keeper Network and the Potomac River Keeper.
All right. Potomac River Keeper Network President Betsy Nicholas, thanks so much for spending some time
Thank you
with
so
us
much.
here and lending us your expertise.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to take another quick break, take a live look.